Ginger and Sid. Two legends in film. Working with each other for your scene.
Oh, shit. I told Rob, I said, I'm going to do this with my underwear on. Okay, and he goes, why? I said, because if I go skin to skin with her, this is going to be a whole new time. And, my good friend Steve Barton, who is the editor-in-chief of Dread Central, in his review of the film, said women all over the country are going to be hitting the pause button because in that scene, Sid Haig exposes his testicles. Okay. Well, I got home one afternoon and my wife said, "I thought you said you did this scene with your, underwear on." I said, "I did." Like, it was a hot day. They jumped out to say hello. What can I tell you? But you had just gotten through major surgery on your knee, right?
I'm a martial artist, and I'd been fighting a couple weeks prior to that, and I blew out my ACL, my MCL, and my meniscus. So my agent called up Rob and said, Ginger can't run. And that's all he told him. Didn't say I've got a cast from my thigh down to my ankle. And the location that we were filming in was a very, very small location. It was a very small house. So my basic introduction to Sid was I was carried onto the set. Sid was lying on the bed and I was plopped on top of him. And I think the question I get asked mostly about this film is, did we actually do the deed? And I don't kiss and tell.
I didn't see any kissing.
There are a lot of blue pills in Sid's trailer.
Her knee worked fine right after the shoot.
All good. Did not hurt the knee.
No, the knee was fine.
Her knee was fine.
You couldn't roll over after that scene, though.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Sid didn't get up for a while.
The thing is, and I told Rob, I said, I want to do one more thing in that scene. I want to piss every woman in the world off, okay, during this scene. He said, how are you going to do that? I said, I want to keep my socks on.
So, a lot of you guys have worked with Rob Zombie in more than one film. Talk about how his directing style has progressed from the first film to his more later work.
My feeling in working with him in the first film was that he was relying on his crew. He would relate to his crew exactly what it was that he kind of wanted to see and left them up to making that happen. And if it was what it was that he wanted, then we would go ahead, and if not, he would explain a little bit more. By the time we got to Devil's Rejects, he had done his homework, and he was much more technically oriented. He knew how to set up a scene that he wanted, okay? So he grew a lot in just that span of time as a director.
Also, I found that he was a lot tighter with sticking to the script, at least for me, maybe not with you, Sid, but for me, it just seemed like he really wanted you to say what was written in House of a Thousand Corpses, but by the time we did Devil's Rejects, it was a lot more relaxed, there was a lot more improv. In fact, I remember one scene where I drove up with Banjo and Sullivan in a van, and I'm walking them to the kill scene, and it was a long walking shot, and there was no dialogue written. And so Rob said, why don't you say, is that your wife's pussy stink on my gun? He said, yeah, go ahead and say that. Okay. So I said, hey, is that your wife's pussy stink on my gun? And then I added, hope it don't rest the barrel. So, that's a good example.
For me, it was the exact opposite. In House of a Thousand Corpses, I just went nuts. Okay, one of the very first scenes that we shot was the scene where the guys come in to rob my store, and when he says stick them up, and I went like that. That wasn't in the script. And Rob started laughing during the take. Cut. I go, Rob, hold it together, okay? So that became my objective. If I could get him to fall out of his chair, that was the deal. And so I just kind of went crazy, and he let me go crazy. And I had enough faith in him to tell me if I'd just gone too far, going back. But in Devil's Rejects, I respected the script, and the only really ad-lib thing that I threw in was that when we were working on the ice cream eating scene in the office, and because he didn't like the way it was working, and so he says, there ain't gonna be no ice cream in your future, and that's when I came up, well, I'm gonna have me some Tutti fucking Frutti. Sherry picked up on that. Tutti fucking Frutti.
See, that was the only part of the script that I disagreed with. I don't think Otis really, I wouldn't have stopped the fucking car.
I would have shot your ass.
Why am I stopping the van? And Rob goes, just, it's in the script. What's my motivation, man?
Somebody said that to Lee Marvin on the show I was working. I was doing the Fall Guy, and young actor, first job, and he goes, "What?" He had like one line. He goes, "What's my motivation?" And he goes, "It's in the parking lot. Can we do this?"
I don't get it.
Let's just do the lines and shut the fuck up and get out of here.
So, on the Devil's Rejects DVD, there was a documentary, 30 Days in Hell. One thing that I thought was really interesting was the footage of the table read. It's something that fans like us don't get to see. Talk about the importance of the table read for you guys as actors.
Well, for me, we started the whole thing off. Rob wanted everybody to introduce themselves in the part that they were playing. It was going around the table, and I was like one of the last one when it came around to me. So my name is Haig, playing Captain Spaulding, and I feel like I'm in a fucking Super Bowl because this is a very great cast, and I just really felt good about what it was that we were going to be able to create together. And the table reading was amazing.
I think the table read is actually awfully good for the filmmaker and for the director. I mean, I don't think it really helps the actors, other than the fact that you meet the people. Some you may be, enamored with, and you respect and you know them from watching them, but you haven't met them yet. But you put the faces together with the characters, so that it does familiarize yourself. So then it's like when you go to work, you've already met, you're part of the same company, and it makes it a little bit easier. But I think it's to be heard. Because filmmakers, directors need to hear their script to see if it sings. And there's just something about the singing that helps them craft scene by scene by scene by scene in their mind and how they're going to shoot it. It isn't the ultimate, but it helps them craft their work.
And since I'm completely lazy, it helps me not have to ever read the script. I just like, all right, this is great. Is it going to be a table read? All right, I'll read the script then.
That'll be good. I'll familiarize myself.
But it was awesome because when they do a table read like this movie, you all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, these people are in this movie? Oh my God! Like these people I idolize and actors, and so that was
the same
really,
way. Yeah. It was a wonderful read.
But sometimes you do a table reading and you go to yourself, is he really going to say it like that?
Oh, please, that happens all the time. Wait a second, or then you say something, and after it's out, you go, am I really going to read it that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually do that as a prank all the time. I always go to the other actor and I'm like, you're not going to read it like that. But by the way, there is a little bit of stress on the table because they can let you go, right? I mean, well, it depends on your contract, not you guys, but yeah, if you do a table read, it's not in front of the camera yet, so anything can happen.
When you get yourself up off the floor, what happens?
Oh, I gotta pull my pants up. See, I gotta pull my pants up.
Yeah.
For some reason, I wasn't involved in the table read.
Me neither.
I'm glad I wasn't invited and didn't go. I might have never been.
By the way, I realized I was looking back there, and there's an empty chair, and that might be is that for Kane?
I wonder.
Kane Hodder.
Kane should be here, but there's always a giant line for him to sign, right? So.
Yes, but Kane, Kane was the stunt coordinator of Devil's Rejects, and I think he did a fucking fantastic job.
So do I.
you know, all of those stunts, and most of them were practicals, and man, he just did great. I thought.
Sid did ours.
Well, that's the other thing. Can I say something else?
It really hit her.
I really hit her.
Not only is the
Because
blood
I turned the
real,
wrong way, I know.
because
Yeah, I'd come with a left cross, and she'd move her head that way. The fist is coming this way, and the head goes that way.
Yeah, Kane actually did fuck the chick.
And also maybe that empty seat is for Matt McGrory, who, you know, tiny.